10 monsters of the MMA of all time. In today's video, we are going to talk about fights, more specifically about mixed martial arts, better known as MMA. So if you are a fight lover, stay with me until the end of this video. The MMA has become more popular over the years. Each fight is different. Some are very exciting, while others end with a quick victory of one of the participants over his opponent. But the best fights are those involving huge fighters, who at first sight could defeat any opponent. So get ready and take a look at these 10 biggest MMA fighters of all times. Hello everyone and welcome back. If you're new to this channel, make sure to hit the button below and subscribe. Don't forget to give us a like and share this video. Hong-man Choi, also known as Korean Monster, the Techno Goliath and the Korean Colossus. Hong-man Choi is a North Korean sportsman, kickboxer, MMA fighter, and belt wrestler in his country. With a height of 7.15 feet and a weight of 365 pounds, Choi is one of the largest wrestling athletes in the world. But having such height is not easy. This fighter suffers from a disease called acromegaly, which makes some parts of his body to never stop growing. Aside from the rings, in 2008, Choi began a singing career with a Korean supermodel under the name Beauty and the Beast. A year later, he played the main character in a Korean film. He was also called to serve in the Korean army. However, after failing 2 medical examinations, he was released from his medical duty, and the main reason wasn't because of his disease, but a vision problem caused by a tumor in the brain, which was successfully removed through surgery. Giant Silva, with 7.18 feet high and 385 pounds, Paulo César Silva is also known as the Giant Silva. This Brazilian fighter initially was a basketball player, and even though he wasn't in the main team, he got to play in 4 games in the Olympics with his country's team. In the 1990s, Silva decided it was time for a change. He let his hair grow and joined the American Wrestling Association, or WWE, where he became famous as the tallest fighter in history. And finally, in 2003, Silva decided to debut in the MMA competitions. And it was a huge mistake. Because of his reputation, Silva was allowed from the start to fight against very experienced opponents. But he only had a crash course in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So what followed next was a circus. The audience was laughing at this giant who clearly didn't have the techniques to fight in the MMAs. Paulo was defeated in all possible positions and only managed to withstand 8 battles. After this, he decided to return to the WWE, which we can agree was a quite reasonable decision. Chad Rowan, also known as Akebono Taro, Chad Rowan is a successful sumo fighter and professional wrestler. With a height of 6.6 feet and an incredible weight of 496 pounds, he was the first non-Japanese person to receive the rank of Great Champion in sumo. In the late 80s and early 90s, the fights between him and the brothers Takanohana and Wakanohana increased the popularity of sumo. But unfortunately, Chad suffered some financial problems at the end of his brilliant career as a sumo fighter and was forced to seek a solution. So then, Chad decided to earn some money by participating in the MMAs and the K1. But he didn't have any success in those. But the fights in which he participated are a must-see. Check it out! Alexandru Lungo. This famous Romanian boxer and judo fighter also entered the world of mixed martial arts. Because of his body proportions, he always participates in categories of heavyweight fighters. Lungu is 6 feet tall and weighs 375 pounds. During his career in the MMAs, he won 17 out of 22 matches. Lungu debuted professionally in the MMA in 2005 in a pride match against James Thompson. And even though Lungu knocked out Thompson in the first few seconds, he quickly got tired and in the end, Thompson won. However, the following year in a fight against Mark Buchanan, Lungu won and this was the beginning of a brilliant career. Alan Karev. This fighter was a big guy since the day he was born. At birth, Alan weighed 15 pounds and after 6 months, he weighed 40 pounds. By the time he turned 18, Alan had grown more than most wrestlers and could only participate in heavyweight categories. Alan began his sport career as an arm wrestler. A year later, Karev was already a world champion. His hard work combined with his massive body worked in his favor. In spite of this, Karev wanted to practice sumo and began little by little in 2002. He became world champion of amateur sumo, and in 2005, he decided to try his luck in the MMA. But his career in the MMA only counted 5 fights and lasted less than a year. He then preferred to focus on sumo fights. Overall, Alan had a successful career and retired in 2012 at the age of 38. Eric Scott Ashe. Eric Scott Ashe, better known as Butterbean, is an American heavyweight boxer as well as a kickboxer and mixed martial arts fighter. Butterbean was the final boss character in the EA sports game Tough Man Contest, released in 1995. He also appeared in many boxing simulators as a character in a costume with the colors of the American flag. When he began to practice boxing, he heard from everyone that he could not become a real boxer, especially because of his body's complexion. And proving everyone wrong, he was crowned World Boxing Champion of the International Boxing Associate. Years later, this fighter became interested in mixed martial arts and began fighting at the Pride FC. Out of 28 matches, he won 17. Ashe attracted a lot of attention and showed everyone that a chubby guy can not only fight, but also win. Yoshihiro Takayama. Just like the others, this Japanese wrestler also has impressive dimensions. He is 6.4 feet tall and weighs 279 pounds. For some time, like other young fighters, he could only train with older fighters or help them during the fight. In 1992, he had his first fight as a professional Bushido, but lost it. Although Bushido was very popular in Japan at the time, Takayama wasn't great at it. He succeeded later when he tried his luck in a Pride FC tournament. During the tournament, he fought 3 times and he lost all 3 fights. However, his performance was noticed and thanks to these tournaments, he got many fans. But unfortunately, his career ended with a spinal cord injury in May 2017, which left him paralyzed from the shoulders down. Sammy Schultz. Now let's talk about this fighter. Sammy Schultz is a professional kickboxer and MMA fighter from Holland. This monster has been world champion of the K1 ground 4 times and is also the only wrestler who has won this championship 3 times in a row. In addition, this Colossus has been several times world and Europe champion in karate. He also appeared in the movie Transporter 3. In 1996, he began to participate in mixed fighting fights in the Japanese organization Pancrase, in which at first he didn't do very well, but 3.5 years later he was able to achieve the title of champion of the organization in a fight against Yuki Kondo. In 2021 he made his debut in the UFC, defeating Pete Williams, a very famous and important fighter at the time. But later, after he was defeated by a young amateur fighter, he decided to leave the UFC. During his career in the MMA, Sammy managed to participate in 41 fights, of which he won 26. Bob Sapp. Robert Malcolm Sapp is an American kickboxer, mixed martial arts fighter, and professional wrestler. His first MMA fight took place in Yokohama on April 2002, and he won. Because of his performance, Sapp impressed the Japanese public, and he was invited to join big organizations like the K1 and the Pride FC. With only a 4-month experience in the MMA, he fought against Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. Bob gave the Brazilian the hardest fight of his career, although he did end up losing it. Sapp may have some flaws in his technique. He defeated his rivals thanks to his size, and that's why he's on this list. Emmanuel Yarbrough. This giant began as a professional sumo wrestler and then participated in fights of judo, wrestling, and even in American football. Yarbrough entered the beginner's world record for being the heaviest sportsman in history. His total weight is 600 pounds with a height of 6.6 feet. In 1995, Yarbrough won the Sumo World Championship. After ending his career, he became the ambassador of sumo in the USA. In the early 19th, Yarbrough was named the best sumo wrestler in the world. Apparently, he got a little bored and decided to participate in the MMAs. His debut in the UFC was a failure. In his short career in the MMA, Emmanuel took part in 3 fights, winning one of them by crushing the opponent to the ground and forcing him to surrender. Yarbrough died at the age of 51 after a massive heart attack in 2015. Guys, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, give us a like, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next video.